Good Sunday morning to everyone out there. I hope everybody has had a great week, and I hope that your next week is even better than your past week. It's your man Cameron. I just want to jump on here, and there's a few things I'd like to speak about. Majority of it's going to be because of the president that we have in office right now, and some of the decisions that he is making are going to be more of a harm for us than for our good. And like I said, you got a lot of the people in his cabinet and his supporters who are praising everything that he's doing, and more so towards the people in his cabinet and people who are a part of the government who are applauding the actions that this guy is taking, are all being paid. You get what I'm saying? Paid to say what they're saying in order to be able to keep their jobs, but they're also ushering in the possibility of having our democracy overthrown because of the type of character this president is. And of course, they say the opposite. Everything that happens is other people being paid in order to go against him. You see what I'm saying? There's been several town hall meetings all across the country to where these are Republican town hall meetings, and majority of the people that are attending these meetings are Republicans themselves and actually voted for the president that is in office. But because they don't want to show that this political party is actually falling apart at its seams, they want to say that these are Democrats that are being paid in order to go to these town hall meetings, in which we know that it's a bunch of lies that they're telling. But to start with the Department of Education. The Department of Education workers have been offered $25,000 to either resign from their positions or retire from their positions in order to cut government costs, government spending. My thing is that education is key. We need these people in order to have a functioning society. But it goes to show you that with the cutting of such an integral department, that these new leaders and this new president, they don't want you to be educated. The less educated you are, the more you can be controlled by these people. And that's what they're after. They don't want people with education and people that know the difference between a car and a house, because you'll be able to see through the lies in the smoke screen that these people are putting out there. When for example, like, and I hate to bring up certain things, but rap music, hard metal rock and roll music, people that listen to this kind of music are people that are more than likely going through some things in life, whether it's at home or at school or in the neighborhood or whatever it may be, but they're going through some things, or they've experienced some things that they feel like this music is relating to how they feel. But in the long run, it's still a lack of education that causes people to sit there and listen to that kind of music. And I've been there. But when you have music that's talking about, taking your own life, indulging in all types of drugs and taking other people's lives for no apparent reason, just because you want to be seen as a particular type of person, is a lack of education, a lack of knowledge. And I'm not saying that everything that is taught in schools you actually need out in society, but a lot of stuff that you are taught can be used to enhance other qualities. You get what I'm saying? For example, learning to read. Learning to read is very important. You have a lot of people out there that can't read thoroughly. Learning to be able to communicate with other people, being around other people, learning how to do mathematics, simple math, some people can't do. And these are the types of things that are slowly being taken away from the children and from others when they want to go and cut the Department of Education. We already have a lack of teachers out here because the pay isn't enough, because people are having to, in which I was somewhat of a troublemaker in school, to where you have these teachers that have to deal with children of all sorts of backgrounds, and it's not just one or two children, but you're talking about 20 plus children in the classroom at a time that they're having to deal with, or children that's going through hormone imbalances because they're 12, 13 years old and they're changing over, but yet they're not being paid enough in order to deal with all these problems that they have to contend with on a daily basis. And once again, they want to cut this department because they want to, quote unquote, save money. In which I said it before, that this is the only thing that runs through this guy's mind, y'all. And that's the problem, is money, money, money. When you have a love for money, that becomes the root of all evil, when you have a love and a lust for money. And everything that he's doing is because of that love and lust that this guy has had for money for years. So you literally are causing thousands of people to lose their jobs because you feel like you're going to save the government money, and that money is only going to go back to the people that already have money. You cut these people jobs and leave them out there with nothing, and then you want to turn around and cut health care and Medicaid, but these people are going to need those types of businesses or whatever have you in order to be able to get their medical needs, because now they're out of a job. You want to cut SNAP benefits, but you're putting more and more people at the need of these types of benefits. If you see what I'm saying, you got people that are losing their jobs. Who and what are they going to depend on at this point? They're going to need SNAP. They're going to need Medicaid. So instead of cutting costs, you're actually adding to the cost in the long run. But once again, they're not looking at the whole picture. And if they are, they don't care about the whole picture. They only care about what part of the picture that they want to focus on. And there's so much more I could probably say about this, y'all, but you get my point. You're putting more people in need because of the cutting of jobs. Secondly, this Tesla guy has sent out a second email to government workers, more so the Department of Defense workers. He has sent out a second email telling them to let him know what 5 things that they accomplished last week on the job. And to me, that sounds so elementary, so high school, and so college. This doesn't sound like an adult thing where you actually asking men and women who are working diligently in order to keep this country safe and up and running, what 5 things did you accomplish last week? I mean, truly, are we in high school? Because that's what high school people do. And he won't tell you that to work for his company. And like I said, I was in the car business as a service advisor. I was a porter. I even washed cars in the car industry. So I've did a few things in the car industry. And I say that because to work for Tesla as a service advisor, and all you're doing is writing up cars in order for them to be serviced, you have to have a college degree. But yet you want to cut the Department of Education. But you have to have a college degree to work for Tesla. Like I said, these guys are so counterproductive. They're so, what's the word? You know the word I'm looking for, but you're saying one thing, and then on the other hand, you're doing another thing. That's how they operate, y'all. So I couldn't even work for Tesla if I wanted to, because I don't have a college education. But yet you want to cut the Department of Education. But back to this email and sending it out to the Department of Defense people, they want to come up with an excuse to fire or get rid of these people so that they can bring in their own people, like I said, because the Department of Defense is a huge thing. And when you got people that are under your control, when you tell them to jump, they jump, then you can literally control the entire population because you have the Department of Defense under your full control. And that's what they're after, y'all. That's what they're doing, y'all. And why these things are not being said, I don't know. But something has to be done. You get what I'm saying? The Supreme Court cannot continue to feed into what this president is doing, because all they're doing is, like I say, adding fire or wood to the fire, fuel to the fire. They need to be trying to figure out a way to smother this fire before it gets out of control and he burns down the entirety of what this country was supposed to be about. Not necessarily what it was built on, because it was built on a lot of people's blood, sweat, and tears. But what this country was trying to truly be, and that was a place where people were free. But they're trying to change everything right before our eyes, y'all. Thirdly, Hamas. So the United States, the president as well, apparently came up with an agreement between Hamas and Israel. But Hamas, at this point, is now backing out of the deal. And I don't know, because it wasn't told on why, but I got an idea on why they're backing out of this deal. Let's think, y'all. Let's put one and one together. What recently happened on social media with this president to where he was posting fake images of himself and others in Gaza, showing Gaza to be a resort country, showing themselves sitting on a beach, drinking whatever they're drinking, sitting near the pool. This Tesla guy at a casino or something like that. They did this, right? So you come up with a deal in order to try and end the war between Israel and Hamas, but yet you go and post something that these people aren't playing games, Mr. President. These people are serious about what they do as far as over in Gaza. That's just like trying to play games with gangsters. That's something you don't do, because they have a short fuse, and a lot of them have so much pain and so much hurt that they're holding on to, that the smallest of actions causes them to break. And when they break, a lot of us don't want to be in the vicinity of these people when that happens. So I'm only saying that because you go and post something showing yourself in a position of relaxation and good times, to where these people have a country right now that is in shambles. They are in a country right now to where they just can't walk to the local Walmart or Kroger or the local corner store and purchase anything. These people are trying to dig their loved ones out of debris and rubble because of missiles and bombs and things going off. And I'm not defending Hamas whatsoever, because what they did, they caused this to happen. But there still are a lot of innocent lives being caught in the middle of this. And that's why they backed out of the second phase of the deal. That image made its way back to Hamas. And Hamas saw a fat-bellied so-called president sitting on a beach, and then they want to pull the leader of Israel into this nonsense to make it look like as if he's a part of them trying to change Gaza for what it was. Sitting there with no shirt on and some shorts with a cold drink. Of course they're going to back out of the deal, because now they feel like they've been violated. They've been taken advantage of. They feel like they're being lied to. Come on, man. You showing yourself in an image that basically shows that you have come and taken over that country and made it to what you want it to be. And that's why they backed out of that second phase of that deal. Point blank, period. And if you can't see that, then you need some glasses and some contact lenses in your eyes, because that's why that happened. The fourth thing I want to talk about is the tariffs. Now, this president has put tariffs on three of the biggest trading partners that the United States has. That's Mexico, that's Canada, and that's China. The three biggest trade partners that we have, he adds an extra tax on the goods that are coming from these countries, in which businesses like Walmart are already saying that they know that the purchasing of goods is going to slow down as this year continues on. They know it's going to happen. You got many economy specialists saying that by the end of the year, we are going to be in a recession, because we know we had that recession stuff looming. But this guy that's in office right now is going to put us in a position to where we're going to be in a recession before the year is out. And I agree to that. I believe that that's going to happen. And even if it's not before the year is out, we most definitely going to end up in a recession at some point during his presidency. And we have to understand that food costs are going to go up. Clothing costs are going to go up. Car costs are going to go up. And just as important as the food, pharmaceuticals, the cost of those are going to go up as well. So people who have kept up with everything has seen the fight that former presidents have been putting up in order to lower the cost of medication. But because of the tariffs, pharmaceuticals, which are medications and things like that, are going to go back up in costs, are going to increase in costs. And we heard the stories and they want to blame it. And I'm not defending Biden or anybody, but they want to blame Biden for the food prices. And they were showing the commercials, and some of them were commercials that were being shown by this new president, his people when he was running for president. I can't afford food costs. How am I'm gonna feed my children with the cost of food going up? And I'd be doggone if the guy that was doing all of that on these commercials, putting these commercials out here, is causing the cost of food to increase even more. Come on, y'all. Like I said, it's such a catch-22 when you're dealing with evil. Literally sit here in front of us and lie through their teeth. And because they're so smooth with it, or because all you see is someone that has built a so-called empire, and that's all that majority of these people are focusing on is money. Why you think the Tesla guy does all these interviews and everything else? Because he has money. If that dude didn't have all that money, nobody would care about him. And I don't care about him now. But you get my drift. It's all about the dollar with these people, man. And these people are driving this country down a highway, which is a one-way highway to destruction. The next thing I want to talk about is the measles outbreak. That it started in Texas as far as we know. And there were over 20 people that had contracted the measles down in Texas, to where a child actually passed away because of the measles. Now, over the entire country, there have been several more cases of the measles coming up, in which there was one with an infant that they say recently traveled out of the country, and that they probably contracted it from being out of the country, in which that's always the excuse that they use. Every time something happens, they want to use the excuse that, oh, they left the country recently, and that's the reason why they got such and such. And I'm not saying that's not the case, but if we look at a lot of these stories, that's normally what you hear. They recently traveled out of the country. They probably got it from where they were at and brought it back here with them. But regardless of that, there are more and more cases that are coming up here in the United States, to where at one point the measles was apparently completely eradicated. But we know that's not the fact at this point, because there have been many outbreaks over the past few years. But I said it and I'm going to say it again. The measles is just a drop in the bucket at this point, y'all. And don't get me wrong, to all those parents out there that don't believe in medications or believe in vaccinations, y'all need to believe in something. And don't get me wrong, if you got strong faith and you believe in Jesus and God, I'm not telling you not to continue to believe in the higher powers. But you have to realize that medication does help. Vaccinations, they do help. To those same parents out there that are not vaccinating their children, let me ask you this. When you take a shower, do you use soap? When you musty, do you use deodorant? If your skin gets ashy, do you use lotion? If your teeth need to be brushed, do you use toothpaste? If you don't get where I'm going, then I'm going to tell you where I'm headed. Those are all a form of some type of medication, believe it or not. And if you use those products, you have to believe that when you get a cough or a runny nose or you catch the flu, that by taking cough syrup or whatever have you, that helps. It helps to alleviate the pain. It helps to decrease, you know, your fever that you may have. This stuff works, y'all. And that's to the parents out there that have been somehow turned and told to the point where they believe that these things don't work. But I say it's only a drop in the bucket because of the you said department, which they literally were put into position in order to combat deadly diseases, y'all. Ebola, whatever else that is out there over in these foreign countries, they were put into place to help defend against and fight against these diseases getting out of control and literally wiping out hundreds of thousands of people. But once again, with this non-believing community that is out here, and with this non-believing president that is in office, the measles is just a drop in the bucket, because there's going to be an outbreak of diseases that we are not going to be able to control, because you in this country have a guy in leadership that has completely taken the funding away from this agency. I spoke about it on a recording that I had done prior about Jimmy Carter, the Georgia man. You understand? But Jimmy Carter, man, how he was truly for the people, and how I don't know the full role that he may have played in you said or anything like that, but I guarantee you his efforts and what he had done after being president. He wasn't even president anymore, and he was doing these things for these people. Had a big influence on what that agency had become. And I spoke about how the good Lord took Mr. Jimmy Carter earlier this year. And I don't know how competent Mr. Carter may have been at that point. You understand what I'm saying? But if he was still living, y'all, and seeing the nonsense that this so-called president is doing right now, he would have wanted to go home and be with his wife. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because that man had built something, helped build something. But it's just the irony how God took him in the beginning of this year, right before all of this nonsense popped off. And what that is showing us is a sign that it's the end of something that was good. And now it's a time that we are going to have to go through of lean years, struggle, more problems, because of the Republicans. And I hate to bring Democratic parties into this, or parties into this, or whatever you call them, but the Republicans voted this guy in, and they wanted him in this position so that he could cause all these problems, which a lot of them didn't know he was going to do this. And why, I don't know. Because if you had seen him from his past as a businessman, even though it was a television show, firing people left and right, bankruptcies he's gone through, the women he has gone through, the people he has been associated with. Hefner, your Diddy guy, your Snoops, your Epstein. These are all people that he has been associated with. And look at their history. Look at their now. And most importantly, the uprising he caused when he lost that last time. And you telling me there were no signs pointing and showing you that this guy should not be in office? And now you have these, like I said, town hall meetings where these Republicans are fussing and arguing, and like, don't you realize you caused this? That's just like me causing something to happen and then being mad at somebody else because I caused it to happen. I can't be mad at nobody but myself if I caused it. So the Republicans that voted for him that are now upset need to look at themselves. Because your leaders, your Republican leaders that are holding these town hall meetings, they're not going to do anything for you. The president has them in his wallet, y'all. Don't you realize that? So y'all can sit there and complain to your Republican leaders all day long and all night long. And these people are just going to speak around you, say big words, make you think that they're going to do something about it. And as soon as they get back around their supreme leader, they're kissing his feet. Come on, y'all. Hey, but like I say, this is just something that we're going to have to endure and that we're going to have to go through. You understand? And I can understand the Republicans being upset. But y'all did it to y'all selves. You know, and not to bring Mrs. Harris into this, but I am bringing her into it. Not to speak badly on her, I should say. But she has some views that I did not agree with. I'm not going to go into depth on them or anything like that. But I do know that she would have been a lot better president for this country than what you have in office. And one more thing I want to talk about too, which was that meeting that they had with Zelensky and how they belittled that man. But what I really want to touch on is the fact that this president said, well, you're going to be the start of World War III. No. Trump is going to be the start of World War III. It has nothing to do with Zelensky because Putin started this war. Zelensky is only defending his country and his people and what he believes in, which he is doing right. And then Trump, with him partnering, which we know he's a partner with Putin in some way, somehow. They are friends. He got offended because Zelensky kept saying how bad of a person Putin is. Because he is a very bad person. For somebody to have people knocked off and poisoned because they're running for a position that they have the right to be able to run for, but because you don't want to relinquish that position, you have them poisoned, you have them taken out. That's the sign of a bad person. And for this president to give this guy praise and say how good of a person he is, once again shows you how bad of a person this president truly is. But once again, this president is going to be the start of World War III. Because now as you can see, the United States is moving further and further away from being a democratic country and moving closer and closer to becoming a socialist, communist type country, to where you had one of them crazy Republican politicians say that the United States should get out of NATO altogether. Imagine that, if the United States was to depart from NATO. That would show all of the other countries that are a part of NATO that the United States has truly switched sides. Because Russia isn't a part of NATO. North Korea isn't a part of NATO. And so after, and I'm going to continue about the World War III thing, but after Zelensky left here, he went and met with the UK Prime Minister or whomever. And those guys, the UK and France, are going to come together and make an agreement about trying to bring peace to Ukraine and present that agreement to the President of the United States, in which we all know that stubborn guy that y'all have in the White House is not going to agree with that agreement. We know he's not. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But my point is that Europe also said, and he also is going to meet with the King of England, or Prince, or one of them soon too. But Europe has vowed to do everything in their power to support Ukraine, meaning that the United States is going to be on the other side of the coin with North Korea, with Russia, and with whomever those guys partner with, bringing upon us and upon the world World War III. That's how it's going to happen, y'all. And it's and China is, I feel, is just in the middle. China isn't with any of them. But that's another story. But that's what's going to cause World War III out there. But y'all have a great rest of your Sunday. I just wanted to get those thoughts out there and off my mind, because they need to be heard, because everybody isn't keeping up with the news and everybody doesn't comprehend what's being said to them, and need somebody to sometimes let them know or interpret some of the information. But y'all take it easy. It's your man Cam. And man, don't hesitate, y'all, to like and subscribe to my little channel. You know, by you liking my stuff or commenting on my stuff, that'll help get this information out to more people that needs to hear it. But y'all take it easy, man. I'll talk to y'all soon.